thing about clutter is that it doesn't give you the ability to be flexible. I'm going to give you an example about a couple that I worked with, clients. I'm going to call them Audrey and Mark. And they called me because they had a 6-month-old baby. Cutest little small chocolate fellow you ever saw. And they had a 1-bedroom apartment that they owned. They had dreams of moving to a 2-bedroom, although I don't know in this economy if they managed to pull it off because I worked with them last year. And what they did was they had their bedroom, and they set up in their bedroom a crib for the baby, so that at night, when he went to sleep, they put him to bed in the crib. And then when they went to sleep, they took him out of that crib and put him in another crib that was in the hallway, so that they could go to sleep and have some privacy without the baby there. And then you walk in, and in this beautifully designed living room, there's all this baby stuff. You know, I don't have to tell you guys who are parents just how much stuff a person this big travels around with. So their question to me was, how can you organize our apartment so that we have room to have a grown-up life when the baby's sleeping? And I think I really shocked them. I said, give the baby your bedroom. They had never thought of this. But I said, at night, when he goes to sleep, you close the door and you party. You know, you're in the grown-up room now. You don't have to worry about waking him up. All of his toys are in there. All of this stuff that's littering your living room is all contained behind closed doors. And now you have here in your living room your TV, your stereo, this beautiful built-in wall unit they have filled with baskets that had their clothes in it because they weren't going to use their dresser anymore. The dresser now belonged to the baby. We completely flip-flopped around the apartment, and they loved it. They felt like they now had a grown-up space, and all of the stuff that went with the baby was in the other room. So unless you're flexible with the way you sort of look at your space and your stuff, you're just not adaptable to these new things that are happening in your life. And you want to be able to let these changes in and move with them. Another example I had is a client, and I'll call her Nikki. She lived in Brooklyn in a 4-story brownstone, gorgeous. She lived there about 15 years, and you know, imagine if you were given 15 years to fill up a 4-story brownstone. You'd probably collect a lot of stuff too. The problem was her mother, her elderly mother, was going to be moving in with her. And how was she going to find space in this 4-story house for her mother? And the first thing that I told her was, she was in a panic. I have so much to do. I have to move this stuff and switch this room, and I want to give my husband my office. I want to give my husband my son's room because her son had moved down as his. All this stuff. I said, make a list. Make a checklist of everything that has to be done in what order. So by the time I actually came to see her for the first meeting, she was already so much calmer just because she had it all written down. But then the next thing I did for her is I helped her clean things out. And even on the second visit I went to her, we went to this huge, really high ceiling in this place, closet she had with office supplies, because she was a writer and wrote books out of her home. And we found some office supplies that must have been there from when she moved in 15 years ago. And that was the closet that was going to belong to her mother. So by going through, getting rid of stuff that she really didn't need anymore, or that she had way too much of, or being able to organize the supplies in her office, she then had the flexibility that she could take this room that used to be her office and give it to her mother as a beautiful front bedroom with a bay window so that her mother would feel at home and have her own private space. So the bottom line is, if you get yourself all gunked up with clutter, you don't have that flexibility to move into the next phase of your life, whether it's early family with a new baby, whether it's later in your family having an elderly parent move in, or anything else that's new that's coming into the phase of your life that's now. So don't let the old stuff that is in your life hold you back and prevent you from moving forward. Another thing I hear very often, and I have a client that I'm working with right now on this, is my boyfriend or girlfriend is about to move in with me. Help. So we have to make space because, you know, Lowenheim's law, which is a corollary to Parkinson's law, is that stuff expands to the amount of space allotted to it. So, you know, you got to get everybody to sort of scale back, get rid of stuff that they don't wear, that they don't read, that they don't use, that they're not interested anymore. Or in this one client, it belongs to her sister who lived in the apartment before her. We've got a pile in the corner that she's going to ship back to her sister in Australia. Of stuff that was left behind for the last year. So she, little by little, is making room for her boyfriend to move in at the end of this month. So you need to just, if you keep the things that you don't need, that you don't love anymore, moving through your apartment, then you have room to let new experiences in, new people in, and make room for your future life. The solution that I have here is keep what you use or love and let the rest go. For those of you that have worked with me, you'll know that I talk about that you should have nothing in your life unless you love it or you use it. So if you think of the continuum of things that you own, there's things that you use every day, your toothbrush, your pajamas, your clothes you're wearing today, which are obviously clothes you like, not like the ones in the back of the closet that you haven't worn in 3 years. And then there's the things at the other end of the spectrum that you love. Photographs of beloved family members, maybe a wedding album, or a treasured book, or a really special piece of jewelry that's something that you want to wear a lot of time. In between those two extremes is a lot of stuff, and it's probably 80% of what you have in your apartment. You don't use it, you don't love it, you're just holding on to it because you've always owned it. So that's the kind of stuff that, if it's not really fulfilling a purpose for you in the life that you are living now on June 16th, 2009, that's the stuff that you should think about letting go, because that's going to bring in all the new possibilities, the new jewelry for people you haven't even met yet, the new books that haven't even been published yet, the new things that you want so that you're not living in the past, you're living in the future. So I hope I've answered the question, why holding on to clutter limits your future.